There is a certain calm that lives within a garden, a rhythm that asks for no rush, no noise, only the quiet presence of time. Here, every leaf tells a story, every color hums a memory, and every breath of wind carries something sacred. Renewal. Welcome to TERAFLORA Studio, a place where creativity meets nature, and where forgotten materials bloom again through the language of design. In this collection, we explore the poetry of upcycled beauty, bottles turned into glowing borders, bricks reborn as living edges, and tires transformed into tiny ponds of peace. Each creation is more than decoration. It is an echo of care, a dialogue between what once was and what can still become. These are ideas meant not only to inspire your garden, but to soften the way you see the world, to remind us that art is not always found in what is new, but often in what we choose to love again. As you journey through this calm storytelling of shapes, colors, and textures, let the imagery slow your thoughts. Imagine the scent of marigolds under sunlight, the soft touch of moss, the glimmer of glass beneath morning dew. Feel how these moments belong to you too, gentle, patient, alive. This content is thoughtfully crafted with the assistance of artificial intelligence, designed to help reimagine sustainability through artistry and emotion. Every image, every word, and every detail you'll see ahead is born from the union of human intention and digital imagination. If this tranquil vision speaks to your heart, stay with us. Subscribe to TERAFLORA Studio, and let's continue to grow beauty together. One garden, one story, and one quiet moment at a time. In the quiet embrace of an early morning garden, sunlight spills gently across a path edged with glass. Each bottle, once forgotten on a dusty shelf, now catches the warmth of a new day. A mosaic of green, amber, and clear reflections that dance upon the soil. The border glows like a necklace of light, guiding footsteps softly between marigolds, asters, and chrysanthemums swaying in the breeze. The garden feels alive here, not because of perfection, but because of renewal. Every recycled bottle tells a humble story of transformation, of something once ordinary finding its purpose again beneath the open sky. Their curved surfaces gleam like dewdrops magnified by time, their colors deepened by sun and soil. Near the path, a soft hum of bees mingles with the scent of blooming sedum and the faint spice of marigold. The world slows. The bottles glint faintly, reflecting not only the flowers but the quiet patience of nature. How it takes what is given, how it turns what was lost into something whole again. By afternoon, the pathway becomes a prism of color. Light bends through every glass, painting shifting rainbows across the ground. A living artwork that changes with each passing hour. It's not grand, it's not loud, yet it draws the eyes of every visitor, whispering in its own gentle way. Beauty need not be bought. It can be found, revived, reimagined. When dusk comes, the last rays of sun rest tenderly upon the glass. The bottles hold the glow for a moment longer, as if unwilling to let it go. Fireflies begin their quiet dance, and the border fades into the soft shimmer of evening, a humble rhythm of light and life, endlessly reborn. There is a gentle rhythm in the garden, not from music, but from form and color. Along the edges of the flower beds, terracotta bricks rise and fall like waves frozen in time. Their curved silhouettes guide the eye softly across the garden, as if the earth itself is breathing in slow harmony with the wind. Each brick was once forgotten, cracked, and pale beneath the dust of old construction. But here, beneath the tender hand of renewal, they've been painted anew, coral blending into cream, beige fading into warm clay. Together they form a living border, a quiet reminder that even the simplest materials can hold grace when given purpose. The morning sun brushes over them, revealing subtle imperfections. A small chip, a faded corner, a streak of paint left by an unhurried hand. And somehow, those flaws make the border more human, more alive. Marigolds lean toward them, their orange petals echoing the warmth of terracotta. Asters unfold nearby, whispering cool tones into the dance of color. Sedum fills the gaps, grounding the wavy line in soft green serenity. As the day passes, shadows play across the curves, shifting like ripples on gentle water. The bricks no longer seem rigid or cold. They belong to the soil, to the flowers, to the rhythm of life that never stands still. In the evening, as golden light spills across the garden, the terracotta brick wave edging becomes a quiet sculpture of time and care. It doesn't seek attention, simply defines space, holds beauty, and lets nature do the rest. In this place, art is not loud. It's humble. It's born from the touch of a gardener who sees potential where others see waste. The wave of bricks stands as a soft frontier, not to divide, but to guide. And as twilight falls, a hush lingers over the garden. The colors deepen, the air cools, and the waves of terracotta fade gently into the earth's embrace. A lasting proof that renewal is an art, and nature is its frame. In the heart of a modest backyard, where sunlight meets the hum of bees, color has found a new voice. Circles of old tires, once dull and forgotten, now bloom with life. Their surfaces, brushed in mint, blush, and soft lavender, rise gently from the earth, holding blossoms that sway in the quiet air. There is something profoundly human in this transformation. What was once cast aside is now part of beauty's rhythm. Tire rims turned halos for marigolds, asters, and chrysanthemums that burst in radiant warmth. The garden no longer feels still. It breathes in color, texture, and a story of second chances. Each tire is a frame, a circle of renewal. Inside, the soil is dark and alive, and roots reach eagerly into their new home. Above, marigolds flash like captured suns, while asters whisper lilac hues to the passing breeze. Sedum and Japanese anemone weave in between, softening edges with gentle green and white. As the morning unfolds, light glides across the painted rubber, catching the strokes of a hand that believed beauty could return. The pastel tones seem almost to hum, like quiet laughter echoing through the leaves. Here, art doesn't stand apart from nature. It becomes nature's ally, turning waste into wonder. Children sometimes stop at the fence, pointing at the colors, their eyes wide. To them, the garden looks like a secret playground of flowers, circles of joy resting on green. Adults pause longer. They see something else, a quiet wisdom in the act of renewal, a reminder that beauty often hides behind the ordinary. By sunset, the tires glow softly beneath the slanting light. Shadows curl around their edges, petals shimmer faintly, and the air fills with the scent of marigolds warmed by the day. The garden doesn't shout, it smiles. In this peaceful space, creation and compassion meet. The recycled tire bloom circles tell a story that needs no words, that what we discard can still bloom again, if only we choose to see its worth. There is a place in the garden where sound seems to fade, where even the wind moves with intention. Here stands the Japanese Serenity bottle wall, a gentle structure of glass and bamboo that hums with stillness. Each frosted bottle catches the light not to dazzle, but to soften it. The sun slips through like silk, tracing pale reflections over the raked gravel and moss below. It was once a wall of waste, discarded bottles gathered one by one, their colors faded by time. Yet, beneath careful hands, they've become something sacred. The cool touch of bamboo frames their shape, holding them upright like silent monks in meditation. The glass no longer reflects noise. It filters peace. Around it, the garden blooms without hurry. Chrysanthemums stand bright yet humble, their petals folding like whispered prayers. Japanese anemones nod to the wind, their slender stems trembling in quiet rhythm. Pebbles lie where they were placed, not by chance, but by mindfulness. Every element belongs. Every imperfection is accepted. As light moves across the day, the wall transforms. Morning turns it translucent, noon gives it a gentle shine, and dusk wraps it in soft gold. Through the bottles, the world looks calmer, edges blur, colors breathe. What was once ordinary glass now carries a sacred weight, the art of balance. Visitors often stop here without knowing why. They lower their voices, slow their steps, and simply stand, listening to silence framed in glass. For in that quiet reflection lies the essence of beauty. Not the new, but the renewed. Not the loud, but the lasting. And when evening falls, lanterns flicker nearby, echoing the same soft light within the bottles. The air cools, the flowers rest, and the Serenity bottle wall glows faintly, as though it holds the memory of the sun. When the sun begins to bow low, the garden changes its language. Colors fade to whispers, and the world leans closer to the sound of stillness. Along the path, light begins to bloom again, not from the sky, but from the earth itself. The rustic brick lantern edge waits for this hour. Each hollow brick holds a flicker of warmth, a soft, steady glow that slips through old terracotta walls. The light isn't fierce, it's humble. It hums gently beneath the fading marigolds, illuminating petals and shadows in equal measure. Once, these bricks lay forgotten, rough and cracked, remnants of something built long ago. But under the gardener's touch, they've been reborn as quiet guardians of the path. Inside each cavity, a candle hums with patience, echoing the pulse of twilight. The result is something deeply human, fragile, warm, and sincere. Around them, asters lean close, their lilac edges catching faint reflections. Sedum's rounded leaves shimmer faintly as the glow drapes over them like silk. The air carries a scent of soil and cool grass, and in that mixture of earth and light, the night begins its song. This edge doesn't shout for attention. It invites pause. Travelers along the path slow down, drawn by its warmth. The glow sketches the outline of each curve, guiding steps not with brightness, but with calm. It reminds one of the quiet roads in old villages, where lanterns once marked the way home. As darkness deepens, the rustic brick lantern edge turns into a constellation upon the ground. Stars fallen to rest among roots and petals. The garden breathes around it, alive yet resting. By the time the moon rises, the glow lingers faintly, touching every brick with silver and gold. There's poetry in its persistence, in how something as ordinary as a brick can carry light, can cradle warmth, can become beautiful again. In a quiet corner of the garden, where time seems to pause between breaths, a circle of stillness rests upon the earth. It is humble, a tire, halved and painted in tones of stone and cloud. Yet within its shallow form, serenity blooms. The mini Zen tire basin garden does not seek to impress. It seeks to balance. Moss spills over its rim like soft velvet, and smooth pebbles glisten where a single drop of water lingers. Inside, tiny sedum leaves unfurl beside dwarf chrysanthemums, their colors muted yet radiant under gentle light. It is a scene not of decoration, but of meditation. Each tire once rolled through noise and dust, its purpose long forgotten. Now, reborn into silence, it carries the echo of movement within stillness, a paradox that the Japanese garden understands so well. The basin cradles calm, reflecting fragments of sky between green and gray. The sound of water trickles nearby. A bamboo fountain releases a rhythmic note. One drop, one breath, one reminder to slow down. A butterfly lands upon the moss, trembling softly, and for a moment, even the air feels sacred. This small circle is not grand. It doesn't call for admiration, yet it changes the space around it. The garden becomes a meditation hall without walls, where stone, leaf, and recycled rubber whisper the same truth. Peace can grow anywhere. When the sun begins to fall, the moss deepens in tone, the pebbles shine faintly, and the basin reflects a piece of gold sky. The day exhales, shadows stretch long, and the world feels whole again. There is grace in restraint, there is poetry in reuse, and there is beauty in the smallest gesture of renewal. When the sunlight passes through glass, it forgets its stillness. It dances. Along the garden fence, hundreds of bottle bottoms catch the light like fragments of a forgotten rainbow. Green, amber, clear, and cobalt. All once ordinary bottles, now reborn as gems in wood. The mosaic bottle fence line turns the edge of the yard into a living artwork. Each circle of glass is a note in a song of color, arranged carefully, lovingly, until the fence no longer guards the garden. It celebrates it. The wooden slats, rough and warm, hold these pieces like memory holds joy, firmly, tenderly, without polish. When morning comes, the first light of day touches the glass and scatters softly onto petals of marigold and chrysanthemum. The fence becomes alive, shimmering dots gliding across leaves, resting briefly upon asters, then fading as the wind shifts. It feels as though the sun itself has found a reason to linger. There's something honest about the way it shines. These bottles once held water, oil, or wine. Now they hold sunlight. They've become storytellers of renewal. Each color a reminder that beauty can come from what we choose not to discard. In the quiet afternoon, when shadows stretch long, the fence glows with a quieter tone. The light turns amber and gold, and the garden feels like an old painting, vivid, imperfect, alive. Children passing by often stop to trace the colored circles with their fingers. Adults smile without meaning to. The mosaic doesn't speak, but it moves everyone who sees it. As dusk falls, the light fades, but the fence remains radiant in memory. A wall transformed into art, a gesture turned into meaning. At the edge of a fragrant garden, colors rise not from flowers, but from clay. Each brick stands upright, sturdy yet tender, its surface brushed with the touch of a hand. Names dance across the paint: mint, basil, rosemary, thyme. The textured brick herb border doesn't merely frame the soil. It tells stories of patience, of purpose, of love for the living green. Once part of old walls, these bricks now return to the earth they once resisted. The gardener saw in them not ruin, but rhythm, a chance to give shape to order and memory. One by one, they were painted softly in hues of cream, olive, and muted terracotta. The paint does not hide their scars. It celebrates them. Cracks hold color like wrinkles hold laughter. As dawn spills across the herbs, light catches the uneven surface of each brick. Letters gleam faintly, the language of the garden written in pigment and care. Bees drift between blossoms of thyme and marigold, brushing against names as if reading them in flight. The air smells of mint and soil warmed by the sun. There's a humble beauty in this border. It doesn't seek perfection, only harmony. Turns function into poetry. The herbs lean gently over their painted guardians. The bricks return the gesture with steadfast strength. By afternoon, the garden hums with life. Wind stirs leaves, and the colors of the bricks grow warmer under the golden light. Children come by, tracing their fingers along the painted words. They smile when they find the one they know, rosemary, maybe parsley. And in that small moment, learning becomes part of living. When evening arrives, the last light fades over the edges, but the border remains, silent, grounded, eternal. Every garden deserves a beginning, a place where steps slow down and eyes widen in wonder. The pastel tire arch gateway is that beginning. Two old tires, curved and bound together, now rise like a gentle invitation, an embrace of color at the threshold of nature's calm. Once worn and weary, they've been reborn in tones of lavender, mint, peach, and baby blue. Under the brush, they found a second life, no longer wheels of motion, but frames of stillness. Their pastel colors catch the morning light like soft chalk against the green, their curves forming a tender arc above a path of stone and bloom. Here, marigolds nod with joy, asters lean close, and chrysanthemums unfold as if smiling. The air smells faintly of paint and earth, of renewal and purpose. Sedum trails along the base, its leaves a bridge between color and soil, the line where creation and growth meet in peace. Visitors pause beneath the arch, often without meaning to. It has a way of making people linger, not because of grandeur, but because of gentleness. The pastel tones stir memory, a child's laughter, a handmade toy, a forgotten summer afternoon. This is not merely an entrance. It's a doorway to simpler joy. As sunlight shifts, the arch glows differently with every hour. Pale in the morning, golden by noon, almost dreamlike at dusk. Its presence transforms the garden not by power, but by emotion. It makes the yard feel loved, cared for, curated by a heart that values beauty in the humble. When evening falls, petals close, the path cools, and the arch stands quietly against the fading light, a silhouette of calm against the twilight sky. When day falls gently into night, the garden exhales, and from the ground, light begins to bloom. Along the curved edge of the path, frosted bottles awaken one by one. Their glow soft and tender, like embers caught in glass. It is here that warmth meets silence, and simplicity becomes grace. The frosted bottle glow border was born from forgotten bottles, each once filled with noise and motion, water, oil, or wine. Now, they cradle light instead of liquid, purpose instead of emptiness. Half buried in soil, they no longer carry weight. They carry calm. The air hums faintly as the LEDs flicker to life, turning recycled glass into a constellation for the earth. Marigolds stand nearby, their orange petals deepening under the warm glow. Asters lean toward the light as if listening to its quiet hum. The scent of chrysanthemum mingles with the cool night air. Together, flowers and bottles form a harmony, man-made and natural, luminous and living. As the evening deepens, the border outlines the path like a thread of gold. Each bottle captures a piece of the night, softening the darkness rather than banishing it. There's no harshness, no glare, only the hush of warmth, the subtle heartbeat of light against soil. Those who walk here slow their steps. They find themselves guided not by brightness, but by serenity. Shadows stretch across the garden, yet the path remains tenderly visible, a quiet promise that even in dusk, beauty endures. When the wind passes, the glow trembles, and it almost feels alive, as though the bottles breathe with the rhythm of the evening. The garden, too, seems to listen. In the soft quiet of a Japanese-inspired garden, harmony is not made of grandeur but of rhythm. Along the path, smooth river stones rest beside clear bottles, each placed with the care of a poet choosing words. Together, they form the Japanese stone and bottle harmony edge, a border not of separation but of balance. The stones carry the memory of rivers, cool, round, eternal. The bottles, once vessels of use, now stand still and empty, catching the reflection of the sky. Between them, moss curls gently and sedum spreads like a whisper, softening what is solid, joining what was once apart. In the morning light, the edge comes alive. Sunbeams slip through glass, bending over smooth stones, scattering onto the petals of marigolds and chrysanthemums nearby. The garden hums with a silence that isn't emptiness. It's peace. You can hear the soft crunch of gravel beneath steps, the rustle of bamboo, the murmur of leaves. Every sound feels slow, deliberate, alive. The balance of glass and stone is a quiet lesson, one born from contrast, transparency beside weight, fragility beside endurance. It tells us that beauty is not found in dominance, but in coexistence. The bottles do not outshine the stones. The stones do not overshadow the glass. Each depends on the other for meaning. As dusk falls, the fading light clings to the bottles a little longer. The stones, now cool and dark, hold the warmth of the day deep within their skin. The air smells faintly of wet soil and blooming sedum. Everything feels still, but deeply awake. In a quiet patch of earth, color rises from what was once ruin. Broken bricks, edges jagged, faces scarred, now bloom again as petals beneath the flowers. The brick petal mosaic edging is more than design. It is a resurrection of fragments, a garden's quiet heartbeat built from patience and imagination. Each shard carries memory, walls it once held, paths it once paved. Yet here, it finds a gentler purpose. Arranged in arcs and circles, the pieces become blossoms of clay. The gardener's brush has softened their roughness with hues of coral, terracotta, and faint ivory, blending into the soil like echoes of sunlight. As the morning comes, the light pours across their surfaces, tracing every ridge, every imperfection. The petals of real flowers lean toward their earthen reflections. Marigolds in gold, asters in violet, chrysanthemums in pale pink. Together they form a duet. Nature's blooms above, human-made blossoms below. There's something deeply soothing about this harmony. A reminder that beauty doesn't demand newness, only renewal. The broken does not stay broken. It becomes part of something larger, something whole. Children often crouch by the edge, running fingers over the mosaic lines, tracing the shapes of petals that will never wilt. Adults pause longer, smiling softly at the thought that even what shatters can bloom again. By afternoon, shadows weave between the curves of brick and stem. The garden feels alive, like a painting with texture. Strokes of clay, bursts of green, threads of color stitched together by care. When the day begins to fade, the mosaic glows faintly under the warm hue of sunset, its tones deepened and peaceful. In the heart of a modest garden, where silence meets reflection, circles of water rest upon the soil. The Tire Pond Harmony Circle is born not from perfection, but from transformation, from a tire that once carried weight now holding peace instead. Painted in soft turquoise or sage green, its curve feels gentle against the earth. Inside, still water mirrors the sky. Petal drifts, a breeze stirs, a single marigold reflection trembles at the edge before settling again. Around it, sedum and chrysanthemum grow in patient harmony, their colors framing the water like a living painting. The pond is small, yet it feels infinite, a circle that contains both silence and motion. Every droplet that lands on its surface ripples outward, tracing invisible rings of time. It is a reminder that calm doesn't need grandeur. It needs balance. Once, the tire rolled through dust and distance, a symbol of movement. Now it stands still, yet it travels inward toward stillness. The transformation feels poetic. A thing made for roads now becomes a reflection of sky. What once endured friction now embodies peace. As the sun shifts, the pond glows differently, cool in the morning, golden by dusk. Bees pause to drink from its edge, and light dances faintly on the painted rim. The air carries the scent of wet soil and flower bloom. Everything feels both awake and resting. At night, when stars rise, the pond mirrors them, small lights trembling on the water's surface like soft breath. The circle becomes both earth and heaven, joined by reflection. When the evening descends and colors soften into amber, the garden begins to whisper. A quiet trail of light appears, not from lamps or wires, but from bottles embraced by bamboo. The bamboo and bottle light pathway is a gentle marriage between nature and renewal, a soft chorus of light guiding footsteps home. Each bamboo frame, smooth and upright, holds a single bottle, once a vessel for water or wine, now transformed into a lantern. The glass glows from within, filled with the warmth of small lights that hum like captured fireflies. Their brightness is not sharp but tender, spilling across the stones in a slow rhythm that feels alive. The path winds between moss and marigold, beside asters that sway slightly in the night breeze. The scent of chrysanthemum lingers in the cool air. As one walks, the lights seem to breathe, flickering in harmony with the movement of the leaves. It's not a line of illumination. It's a poem written in light and silence. The bamboo creaks softly, a sound as old as the earth. In its hollowness lies strength, in its simplicity, elegance. The bottles, symbols of human creation, rest within, finding peace in nature's frame. Together, they form a dialogue between elements. Man-made and natural, transparent and rooted, delicate and enduring. When the last of the daylight fades, the pathway becomes a constellation on the ground. Each bottle glows like a star caught between earth and sky. Steps slow down, voices quiet, and the heart steadies. In this space, technology feels ancient, and stillness feels new. Along the garden's edge, sunlight lingers, not harsh, but kind. It falls upon a line of old bricks, their surfaces cracked by time yet warm beneath the touch of day. Inside each hollow, life stirs quietly. Small succulents unfold, moss breathes softly, and pebbles rest like stars fallen into earth. This is the sunlit brick terrarium border, where age and youth share the same soil. Once part of walls, these bricks now cradle the smallest worlds. Their hollows, once meant for mortar, have become sanctuaries of green, miniature ecosystems that shimmer with dew at dawn. No two are alike. One holds a tangle of sedum, another a sprout of moss, another a cluster of pearly stones that glint in the light. Together they form a living line, a border that doesn't divide, but connects. Morning is their favorite hour. The sun paints their edges in gold, slipping gently across the curves of succulents and pebbles. Bees pause for rest, their wings trembling in slow rhythm. The garden hums softly, a quiet music made of breath and light. As the day grows warmer, the terrariums glow like small lanterns of life. Children crouch to peer inside, tracing shapes of moss and stone with wonder. The adults smile quietly, sensing the grace in such simplicity. That beauty can bloom not in grand design, but in care and imagination. When twilight comes, the sunlight fades but leaves its warmth behind, caught in the color of terracotta and green. The border stands serene, neither wild nor tame, but perfectly balanced. A memory of touch, patience, and transformation. As the light begins to soften and the garden exhales its last breath of day, we are reminded that beauty is not a destination. It is a rhythm that returns, again and again. Every flower that fades will bloom once more. Every piece of earth that rests tonight will wake tomorrow in color. And within every simple creation, there lives the quiet voice of hope. What we've shared today is more than design. It is a reflection of harmony. Bottles that once held water now capture light. Old bricks, once silent, now cradle new life. Tires that once touched the road now hold the calm of still ponds. Through these transformations, nature and imagination meet halfway, whispering the same truth. Nothing is ever truly wasted when touched with care. At TERAFLORA Studio, we believe in the poetry of renewal. In gardens that tell stories, in colors that heal the eyes, and in creations that remind us to breathe slowly. Every scene, every detail is a small conversation between the hand and the earth, between memory and growth. If this journey has brought you peace, even for a moment, carry that calm with you. Let it inspire your next quiet morning, your next gentle project, your next act of tending to the world around you. And when your heart feels ready for another walk through beauty, we invite you back here. Subscribe to TERAFLORA Studio, where every story blooms with kindness, every image breathes renewal, and every visit reminds you of the wonder that still lives in the simple things. Because the garden never truly ends. It only waits for light, for care, and for the hands willing to dream again.